no one warns you when life decides to break you in half. It doesn't knock, doesn't ask if you're ready, doesn't give you time to prepare. It just comes crashing in full force. And when the blow lands, most people shatter. They collapse, they cry, they run, they drop to their knees begging for comfort. They cling to anything that looks like a hand reaching out, even if it's just an empty promise or a temporary high. But not you. Not if you want to be truly strong. Not if you want to rise without asking permission from anyone. Because what we call life doesn't care about you. It comes like a hammer smashing the home you thought was a fortress. It comes like a cold blade cutting through the love you thought was eternal. It comes like a flash flood sweeping away the work, the career, the honor you built with sweat and blood. One strike and it all falls into the abyss. You're left alone in the ashes, unable to stand, unable to rest, with only one question hissing through your teeth. Why me? But that question never has an answer. Because the brutal truth is this: no one is exempt. There is no contract with the universe that guarantees peace. Life doesn't warn. It only watches how you react when you're torn apart. The weak break completely. They survive in body, but their soul dies the moment they kneel and beg. The strong are different. They don't beg. They don't whine. They take the hit, then quietly force themselves back up. And from that moment, the real game begins. Adversity is a scale. It splits the world in two, the fragile and the forged. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the harsh teacher. It rips you open to reveal your true core. It strips away what you cling to just to see if you can still stand with nothing but yourself. If you collapse, you prove you never had real strength. If you rise, you're reborn. And this time, nothing can break you again. This world does not reward feelings. It does not care how sad you are, how much you hurt. It only responds to what you become after you've been struck down. And that is your choice: to wither forever in the dark, or to become so dangerous that nothing can ever touch your mind again. So if you're sitting in the ruins, understand this. This is not the end. This is the beginning. This is the moment you stop asking why and start asking, what will I do with this pain? This is the crossroads where you choose: stay a victim forever or forge yourself into something untouchable. Weak minds seek comfort. Strong minds seek control. When life knocks them down, the weak always look for the quickest escape. They bury their faces in screens, scrolling endlessly like addicts begging for a fix. They order fast food at midnight, stuffing each bite into the emptiness inside. They cling to friends, to anyone willing to listen to their whining like children needing a shoulder to drown out their own screaming. They think that's healing. In truth, they're only delaying the pain, covering the wound with a thin bandage, while the infection festers beneath. The strong are different. They don't run. They sit in the fire. They let the pain burn them, but they don't scream, don't plead. They observe it, dissect it, even speak to it. They understand the cold principle: pain doesn't kill you. Running does. Because every time you run, you teach your mind that it's too weak to face reality. And from that moment on, you become a slave to the very fear you created. Look around at America today. How many people, after their marriages collapse, refuse to face the real reasons and instead rush into flings, stacking disappointment upon disappointment? How many lose their jobs and instead of retraining or rebuilding, sink into Netflix binges, cheap beer, endless parties? How many, lonely at heart, refuse to learn how to stand alone and instead drown in the whirlpool of likes, comments, follows, digital morphine masking the rot within? The strong do not allow themselves these addictions. They know the truth. Mental discipline is the highest power. When you control your response to pain, you cut every chain life uses to bind you. Others may leave you. Careers may collapse. But no one can break a mind that knows how to sit with discomfort without begging for an easy escape. The Stoics said it 2,000 years ago, "It is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them." The world wants you weak, wants you addicted, wants you dependent so you're easy to control. But if you build endurance, if you can sit alone in a silent room with pain screaming inside you and still remain calm, then you become untouchable. True strength is not the absence of pain. True strength is refusing to run. You let pain test you, and you use it as a whetstone to sharpen your will. And one day, while others are still scrambling for shelter, you have already become the storm. Pain is a teacher, not a curse. No one prays for pain. No one asks to lose their job, be betrayed, or watch a loved one go cold in a hospital bed. But life doesn't need your prayer. It comes anyway, like a hammer strike that snaps the spine of the faith you've built over years. And you have two choices: see it as a curse and let it drag you into the pit, or treat it as a teacher smacking you awake from your illusions. I have an old friend named Mark. 3 years ago, Mark was at the top good job, stable family, the kind of man people pointed to and said, "He's lucky." But one afternoon, his company suddenly downsized. Mark lost his job in a 10-minute meeting. He walked out of the building carrying nothing but a cardboard box with a few photos and a coffee mug. That feeling like being thrown into a snowstorm without a coat. For weeks, Mark lived in rage. He cursed the company, cursed himself, drank to forget. But one night, sitting in the garage watching his daughter asleep in the back seat after waiting for him to drive to work, Mark realized if he kept seeing the layoff as a curse, he would drown in bitterness. But if he treated it as a lesson, he could make it a beginning. He started studying again, started a small business. Today, his company isn't a giant, but he said one sentence I'll never forget. "Losing my job taught me that real security never comes from a boss. It comes from my own skills and discipline." Another story, sharper still, Sarah, a woman who believed marriage was the strongest wall in life, until the day she discovered a message on her husband's phone proof of an affair. Sarah's world collapsed in seconds. The familiar kitchen turned into a courtroom, the wedding ring into a cold shackle. For months, she cried silently, lived like a ghost. But one morning, looking in the mirror, Sarah realized the woman staring back wasn't her anymore. Tangled hair, hollow eyes. And she decided either let this pain turn her into a walking corpse or let it teach her to rise. She chose the latter. She began exercising, studying, signing a lease on her own apartment. One day when her ex-husband ran into her by chance, he said, "I don't recognize you anymore." Sarah smiled. "You're right. The old woman is dead. Pain killed her. But because of that, a new one was born." Psychology calls this neuroplasticity, when the brain, shocked, is forced to carve new pathways, teaching you new survival skills. The Stoics call it, "The forge fire doesn't just burn it, refines it, purifies." Seneca wrote, "Fire tests gold. Adversity tests men." If you treat suffering as a curse, you make yourself a victim living in resentment, waiting for life to repay you. But if you treat it as a teacher, you can finally ask, what's the lesson? Which illusions must I shed? How must I rebuild myself? Suffering is not fair, but it is impartial. It spares no one. It knocks on every door. The only difference is this: some sit and curse forever. Others walk out of the ashes like newly forged steel. And that choice does not belong to fate. It belongs to you. Emotional discipline. A life can collapse not because of war or disaster, but because of one uncontrolled mouth, one outburst of rage. A sentence shouted in anger can burn away a decade of trust. A jealous glance can turn love into a battlefield. One panicked decision can push an entire family into ruin. A person without emotional discipline, no matter how smart or talented is, like a rider on a wild horse, sooner or later the horse throws him off. Emotional discipline doesn't mean killing feelings. It's the art of holding the reins, letting emotions signal, but not letting them seize control. The weak let anger drive their words, let fear drive their decisions. The strong know emotions are signals, not commands. They listen, but they don't obey too quickly. Look around. There was a man I knew again. Mark. He once lost his job because in a meeting he slammed the table, poured his anger onto his boss. 1 minute of lost control burned 10 years of career. Meanwhile, a colleague, less talented but calmer, kept his seat and kept climbing. People don't remember how skilled you are. They remember how you handle storms. But emotional discipline doesn't just save jobs. It saves love, friendships, dignity. I recall a single father, my neighbor, who once told me, "The day my wife left, I wanted to smash everything. But when I saw my daughter, I swallowed it down. If I exploded, what would she learn except hatred? I chose silence. I chose to be her anchor." That act of discipline transformed him from an abandoned husband into a resilient father. The Stoics understood this 2,000 years ago. Epictetus said, "It's not events that hurt you, but your response to them." Modern psychology and CBT proves the same. When you change how you interpret emotions, you change your entire life. Emotions stop being a prison and become a test of mental strength. So how do you train emotional discipline? It's not magic. It's practice. Write emotions down. When anger or sadness hits, instead of reacting, put it on paper. That small act cools the brain, shifting it from instinct to reason. Ask questions instead of reacting. Was this truly an insult or just my interpretation? Often you'll see you're exaggerating. Practice silence as a skill. Not cowardice, but control. The person who can remain silent in chaos is the most dangerous one in the room. Find healthy outlets. Journaling, running, hitting a heavy bag, praying, ways to let feelings out without burning relationships. I once met a war veteran back from overseas carrying brutal memories. He despised war, but he refused to let PTSD own him. He learned breathing meditation, reframed his memories into lessons for the next generation. He told me, "I used to be a prisoner of memory. Now I am its storyteller." That is Stoic strength, turning pain into teaching emotions into tools. To possess emotional discipline is not only to keep yourself steady, but to inspire those around you. When the boardroom trembles, you are the one speaking calmly. When your family panics, you are the steady gaze. When the world descends into chaos, you are the fixed point. That is not just strength. That is freedom. Silence as a weapon. Silence is not emptiness. It is the knife hidden in your coat, the bullet, not yet fired, the darkness that suffocates a room. The weak fear silence. They rush to fill it with chatter, nervous laughter, cheap stories. They think that words prove their existence. In truth, their noise only exposes their insecurity. The strong are different. They understand silence as an art. Silence is not the absence of speech. It is the choice of timing, the ability to make every word a blade. A CEO I knew in New York once sat through a tense meeting while people argued back and forth. He said nothing. 5 minutes passed, and then 10. Slowly, the room quieted, unsettled by his silence. All eyes turned to him. Then he spoke one short, decisive sentence, enough to set the course for the whole company. That is the power of silence, not shouting, but striking once precisely. The Stoics warned the man who can be provoked by words has already given away his soul. If an insult can make you explode, you are a puppet. But if you stay silent, a faint smile on your lips, you let your opponent drown in their own vanity. They reveal themselves while you remain still as stone. That is not passivity. That is control. Silence also reveals truth. At a party, you can always spot the ones who talk the most. They are afraid of being forgotten. Meanwhile, the truly strong need no effort. Their stillness draws attention. They are not fighting for space. Their silence creates the orbit that others circle around. A friend once told me about endless fights with his wife, screaming battles where no one won. One day he stopped fighting back. When she shouted, he only looked at her without retaliation. His silence disarmed her, and the arguments ended. He realized then, it isn't the sharpest words that win an argument, but disciplined silence. The truth is, this silence doesn't make you weak. It makes you unreadable. People fear what they cannot decode. A quiet smile can be more terrifying than an explosion of anger. Your silence sends a signal: I don't need to argue. I observe. I remember. And I will act when I choose. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no time in explanations. Those who understand will understand in silence. Those who don't, explanations are useless." Silence then becomes a shield for your energy. Instead of scattering yourself in words, you hold your presence in your eyes, in your stillness, in your discipline. Others adjust themselves around you. Try walking into a noisy room without saying a word. Let your silence hang like an invisible cloak. You will see people shift, recalibrate, grow cautious, just because you did not need to prove anything. That is true authority power, not from your mouth, but from silence forged by discipline. Rewrite your story. Inside every person lies an invisible book, written in scars, betrayals, failures, lies we once believed, handshakes that turned out hollow. Victims live inside that book as if it were holy scripture, unchangeable. They flip the same pages, rehearsing the same lines: I was betrayed, I was abandoned, I am not enough. They replay the same play endlessly, an actor trapped on stage, never stepping into the light. The Stoic does not reread the old script to cry. The Stoic shatters it, throws it into the fire, then takes the pen and writes anew. Suffering ceases to be a sentence, it becomes a map. Betrayal ceases to be a wound, it becomes a warning sign. You are no longer the betrayed. You are the one who sees clearly the truth of human nature. And in that vision, you are freed. Picture a general defeated in battle, his fortress fallen soldiers, scattered enemies rejoicing in the ashes. The world calls him a loser. But instead of kneeling, he picks up a broken sword, etches words into stone. This is not the end. This is the beginning. From the ruins, he rebuilds an army, sharper, harder, stripped of illusions about mercy. He rewrites his story from vanquished to invincible. That is the power of rewriting, to turn collapse into legend. In modern life, the pattern is the same. A divorced woman can live forever under the label failure, repeating her story of betrayal and lost love. But a Stoic-minded woman rewrites, that marriage was my harshest education. It taught me to choose with clear eyes, not blind heart. A man who goes bankrupt can cling to his tragedy, the one who lost everything. Or he can rewrite, bankruptcy was my training ground. It taught me discipline, management, and how to live without illusions. Rewriting does not erase the past. It transforms it into your myth. Others may see pages of downfall, you tell it as battles of blood and steel. Instead of I was destroyed, the story becomes I touched the ground, and from there I rose with iron legs. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose to see things not as misfortunes, but as tools." If life hands you tragedy, ask, how do I use this? Lose a job, it is a door to rebuild a career on your terms. Lose someone you love. It is the fire reminding you to live with depth, because life is too short for shallowness. Like every hero in myth, the path is never straight. He dies and revives, falls into pits, climbs, peaks, is betrayed, is hardened. Every chapter of pain is another hammer strike forging his weapon. By the end, the world does not remember him as a victim of fate, but as the warrior who rewrote destiny with his own hand. So it is with you. The old story has no power unless you let it. You hold the right to smash it, to write again with blood, with scars, with eyes that have seen truth. You are no longer the betrayed. You are the one who saw through the lie. You are no longer abandoned. You are the one strong enough to walk alone. You are no longer a victim. You are the author. Detachment. Freedom from chains. Outside. Some people believe they are wealthy, happy, free. In truth, they are only prisoners wearing golden chains. These chains are not made of iron. They are money, romance status, the approval of others. They cling to them, tremble at the thought of losing them. And for that reason, they never taste freedom. Epictetus said, "Do not stake your happiness on what you cannot control. If your joy depends on the praise of others, you have handed the keys of your soul to their tongues. If your sense of worth depends on how many zeros sit in your bank account, you have let a number imprison your emotions. If your love exists only because of clutching and control, it is not love, it is fear." Look around. How many people tie their entire identity to their job? One day they are laid off, and they collapse as if their soul itself was confiscated. How many anchor their whole worth to a spouse or lover? When betrayed or abandoned, they unravel begging, weeping, destroying themselves. How many live for applause for family, community, colleagues, yet a single insult pushes them into the abyss. This is the tragedy of attachment, a life without its own spine. The Stoic is different. They love but are not enslaved. They earn money but do not worship it. They work, but their work does not define them. They enter love with warmth, but if it departs, they still stand. They treat money as a tool, a house, a meal, safety for children. But peace of mind is not for sale. It comes only when you drop the chains outside. Detachment is not coldness. It means you own things, but nothing owns you. You hold a job, but your worth is not chained to a title. You cherish your partner, but you are not enslaved by the bond, because true love needs no control. You enjoy recognition, but you are not addicted because you know today's applause may turn to tomorrow's silence. Those who clutch at possessions are like men squeezing sand. The tighter they grip, the faster it slips away. Those who loosen their hand hold more because they do not fear loss. And the absence of fear that is freedom. Ask yourself, what do you live for? Happiness, freedom, love your children, a decent life. These are the core. Money is only a tool. Fame is only an echo in a cave, never real light. Others can strip you of jobs, relationships, possessions. But if your mind knows detachment, no one can touch your soul. I once knew a man who went bankrupt after 10 years pouring his life into a company. He lost his house, his car, even the friends who once cheered his wealth. For months, he drifted like a corpse. Then one day he smiled faintly. I thought losing the company meant losing everything. But I still have my daughter, my health, my hands to rebuild. I only lost what was never truly mine. From then on, he was lighter. A few years later, he built another career, stronger, no longer a slave to appearances. That is the strength of detachment. Only when you drop the chains can your hands grip the sword. Only when you stop fearing loss can you start truly living. Isolation. The king's loneliness. Most people fear solitude as they fear the dark. They drown it in music, social feeds, bars, and chatter anything to avoid sitting alone. But the hard truth is this: you cannot be king without enduring the cold throne. Solitude is the furnace of power. Science shows the brain rewires most deeply in stillness. Without the flood of noise, the mind cleans itself. Buried wounds surface to be faced. Old memories reorder. And in that silence, new connections, new clarity are born. You think you are breaking, but in the dark, you are being reforged. The Stoics chose solitude not because they hated life, nor to flee mankind, but because they knew only when alone can you hear the truest voice of your own mind. Only in darkness do you learn how to strike your own fire. The weak fear empty rooms because they reflect their inner emptiness. The strong sit still and turn that room into a temple of command. Want to know who you are? Turn off your phone for 3 days. No calls, no praise, no one needing you. If you collapse, you never knew yourself outside of society's mirror. But if you stay calm, writing, breathing, facing painful memories without fleeing, you are forging yourself into someone unbreakable. Remember, whoever dares sit alone will never fear the crowd. The crowd only terrifies those who need its approval. But to one who has survived his own shadows, the gaze of others has no power. That man walks into a hall and the air shifts. He doesn't speak yet. The room bends to his gravity. For everyone senses this is one who has looked into demons and did not tremble. Look at the greats. Marcus Aurelius wrote Meditations alone in his war tent. Not for others, but to speak to himself. Lincoln sat for hours in darkness, writing crossing out, staring into despair. Steve Jobs, cast out of the company he built, did not drown in noise, he withdrew, and from the dark returned to reshape the world. Solitude does not kill you. It kills the weak version of you. If you dare endure it, you emerge with eyes that cut through illusion, no longer desperate to prove, no longer hungry for applause. You walk slower, but every step lands like a hammer into the earth. Do not fear solitude. It is not punishment. It is coronation. Once you learn to befriend silence, life stops pushing you around. You set the tempo. From that moment, crowds are only background noise. You are the conductor. The unbreakable state. There is a moment that divides your life forever. When the world throws you down, stomps, you crushes you until nothing remains. The weak dissolve into ash, pleading, waiting to be rescued. The strong, those who endured the fire, become steel. There are no fragments left to shatter, for every piece has been forged into one solid block, cold, unyielding. Do not imagine the world will go easy on you. It will not. Every tomorrow can strike like an ambush. The difference now is this: you no longer fear. You no longer ask, why me? You ask, how do I use this blow to grow harder? Pain is no longer a sentence, it is a command. Each scar is a page in your manual of training. You read it with clear eyes, never denying it. The unbreakable mind is not emotionless. It still loves, still hurts, still longs. But it no longer obeys emotions. It knows feelings are signals, not orders. Loss is an exam, not a definition. Betrayal is a lesson, not eternity. And so this mind moves through life like a warrior in bronze, its armor not for show, but to guard the freedom of its inner kingdom. When you reach this state, you cannot be pulled into petty games. They provoke you, you stay silent. They chase you, you disappear. They want you down, you rise from the exact spot you fell. Your refusal to break unsettles them, for no one holds the reins anymore. Epictetus said, "He who controls his mind controls the world." This is not poetic exaggeration. It is hard truth. The world only manipulates those who lack command of their soul. Once you lock that gate, nothing can force you down. You cease being a creature defined by events. You become the one who writes fate itself. From that moment, you no longer move as a seeker of safety. You move as one who carries a storm inside, yet keeps it leashed in silence. No need to shout. No need to prove. Your presence alone changes the room's breath. That is the unbreakable state. The state where every hardship has failed against you. The state where life can test but never defeat. The state where from ashes You became the fire that never dies. Conclusion: the unbreakable state. In the end, every discipline, every drill, every drop of blood and tear leads to a single destination: the unbreakable state. Life will keep striking, keep testing, keep slamming you to the ground. The difference now is that you are no longer prey. You have become the observer, the controller, the one who decides. Control the mouth so you don't bury yourself with your own words. Control the mood so a petty moment doesn't destroy a whole day or a whole life. Control the money so it serves you instead of making you its slave. And above all, control the mind, because once you master that gate, no one enters uninvited and nothing breaks you. Others will call you cold. Let them. Others will say you've changed. Let them think so. The truth is, you do not change to please anyone. You change to survive, to walk with pride, to build a fortress within that nothing can breach. Life does not warn you when it breaks you. But because of that, you learn how to rise. You are no longer a seeker of pity, but one who emerges from ruin with steady eyes, a calm heart, and a strength nothing can shake, like a phoenix rising from ash.